Evening, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the show. Got another debate show for you tonight with some fans from all Premier League clubs. Big up Dave, big up Goonie, big up Joe.
All Premier League clubs.
All Premier League. Well, you know what it is.
In waiting.
I mean, you tell me enough. You tell me enough, you're going to be back. So it's like, why leave? Why leave, Joe? It's one of those, man. D, long time.
Yeah. I mean, I've just been busy, but yeah, man. Yeah, it's good to be back.
Good stuff, man. Dor is in the chat and he's saying they need to hurry up because Dave, it's going to be your bedtime soon. We need to get this stream running. So how are you, Dave?
Hey, I'm good, mate. Thank you. Yeah, and it's really good to see you lads again. Yeah, looking forward to having a bit of a natter. Nice to see we're covering more than just one division tonight. Really good, that.
Yeah, 100, man.
You see now the tables have turned. Do you remember how he used to be humble? Look at him now.
Oh, Dave, man, you do.
You've changed, Dave. You've changed.
The Premier League has ruined me, basically. I used to be a really nice guy. Now I'm a
See, this is why I say you can't give people nice things, man.
100, man. Goonie, what are you telling me, man? You good?
Oh man, yeah, I'm all good. Kind of dreading this weekend's game, obviously against you lot, but yeah, man. Outside of that, I'm good, man.
Yeah, we'll come on to that, bro. Joe, you're back, and we're going to start with a little bit of England for a few minutes, and it's your boy Gareth Southgate. I know Goonie's not a fan, so this could be fun. Let's start there, Joe.
Yeah,
I must say the second half was a pleasure last night, watching what I thought was one of the best England attacks I've seen in a long time. First half, question marks. But I thought we were flying in the second half, and there were so many good performances moving forward. I thought Kane, I thought Rashford, I thought Rice. I thought,
to be honest with you, man.
That's where I'm going, man. That's where I'm going. I left the best till last for a reason, because I don't really think there's anybody in the world playing like this at the moment. And if anyone thinks there is, then I'm all ears for names. But this guy I think he's got double figures already for Real Madrid. Someone said he's playing number 10. He's absolutely killing it. Every time I look at Real Madrid scoring, he's either on the score sheet or he's created or set up the goal. And he did it for England last night, and it was an absolute breeze. Now, I know Italy are not the Italy of old, but they're no mugs. They're no muppets. Yeah, it's Italy. It's not like it's a San Marino. But Joe, Jude Bellingham, man, talk to me.
Oh, mate, it's just unbelievable. Like, I genuinely believe, and there's all different ages on here, so I think it's a worthwhile discussion. I can say with chess now that Jude Bellingham, if he continues in this trajectory, will be the best English player ever. And I say that now because I look at my generation of players who's there. I don't know, Rooney's, your Gerrards, I don't know, your Lampards. Before that, you're maybe looking at Gaza, and then you're thinking, but the thing is with Gaza, he had his troubles. I don't see that for Jude. I think we can already see he's got an elite mentality. He's got a great family beside him. That means that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So I just think, and it might be too early for me, but arguably, like you said, Dan, he's for me the best player in the world right now. I think. Maybe Mbappe might come close, Haaland, okay, but I think right now I would say it's Jude. And I genuinely believe that we will, regardless of who's manager, because I said this on Twitter and everyone goes, oh, well, not with that Wally in charge, but we forget how old Jude is. I believe Jude Bellingham will win this country a major honour, regardless of who's manager, because he's going to come up in them moments. Look at his performance yesterday against Italy. He wins the penalty. He gets there ahead of Di Lorenzo. The second Kane goal, my God, he makes the challenge. He then gets up, he receives it off Foden, gives it to Rashford, and then makes a run across his man to enable Rashford to come in and take the shot and score the goal. That was all Jude Bellingham. And I think we've seen, look at how Rashford's performed this season, for example, for Man United. He's been stinking. You put Jude Bellingham in there, a midfielder who could actually run with the ball, and look, he just looked a totally different player last night for me. And I think Jude is that good. And we used to mock Birmingham when they retired his number. Not no more. I get it now. Do you know what I mean? I get it now. Because for me, it's just, yeah, we're going to win. He will captain the England national side. I'd say when Kane goes on, I think it's the rightful passing. You've seen him, mate. The Italian fans were giving him jip. He's laughing at him. He's then going like this to the crowd, like this at his age. You know, I told him to take. I think at Rashford, like, tried sending it long at one point, and he's going to him, calm down. Now these are actually listening to him because they know just how good he is. So for me, yeah, he's going to be the GOAT English player. I'm so excited for him. I love watching him play.
Yeah, I've got to say, I'm with you on that respect. I love watching him play as well. How good can he be? We all get carried away, don't we? We say, oh my God, Foden's going to be a Gaza. Dele Alli is going to be a Gaza. They all went through it, right? Jack Wilshere, what? Wow, oh my God. I'm not saying he's going to get into that bracket and have careers of Dele Alli and Jack Wilshere, but what I am saying is that I have been here before with these type of players, and it hasn't quite hit those heights. I think he will. There's something different about this player in terms of his mentality and leadership of that young age. I want to ask you, Goonie, what's your thoughts on this lad? Because, you know, it's not just him. We've got Sakas, we've got Fodens, we've got young players around him as well that are really, really hitting the hypes. But yeah, it is all about Jude at the moment, Goonie.
I think, you know, and I've always said, I think Jude is a fantastic player. Do you know what I mean? He's very mature beyond his years. And what's key for him is his influence off the pitch. And when you look at everything considered, he's got a good family. His dad is very much rooted into football, very much into the whole discipline thing to make sure him and his brother get the best out of themselves, and you're seeing that already with Jude. And listen, Job is on his way up as well. I've heard very good things about him, so that doesn't surprise me in the absolute slightest. Then you've got to look at the club that he's at. He's at Real Madrid, a place that expects the best from you every single time. Cannot drop the level down there. Then you look at the players that he's playing around, who he can learn from. Real Madrid have got a system that is set up for youths perfectly, especially in that midfield position, and especially in his position. Because if you see the ones that came before him, you're talking your Luka Modric's and all these kind of guys. You know what I mean? So these are the guys that you're going to learn from, and if you listen, you're definitely going to improve 100%. However, this is what I'm going to say. I'm going to manage expectations. As good as he's played, we are only in October as well. He has set the world on fire, and I am a very firm believer of consistency. I come from an era where you had to prove yourself over 2 or 3 seasons before you could say that you was world class. An example, Frank Lampard. Nobody was saying this man was world class until this man was getting 20 goals a season, like 2 seasons in a row. So on and so forth. Steven Gerrard, you can see the talent was there, but it was only a few years into it where people were saying, yeah, this man's definitely world class. That's the school that I come from. If I'm seeing Jude being central to success at Real Madrid, at England as well, then I'll start having that conversation. There's something that Joe did say, though, I think is a massive caveat to it. Can he definitely win trophies for us? He's a player that you would want in your squad to do so. But remember, it's not just down to the players. It comes down to the manager. I simply just don't trust him. I do not trust Gareth Southgate to get it over the line. Do you know what I mean? So it all depends. That on that side, it depends. But if we're speaking individually about Jude Bellingham, definitely correct trajectory. He's just got to keep it consistent. He's got to stay disciplined. That's what he's got to do. He's got to learn how to, because, you know, the more he does this, his profile is just going to keep going up, up, up and up. Because we've not seen like the highest profile of Jude Bellingham yet in terms of media and stuff. We've got to see how he handles that. Although, you know, going back to what I said earlier in terms of his everything outside of the pitch, he seems to be prepared for all of that, support your family, all that kind of stuff. So he's got a bright future. But for now, I'm just going to wait. I want to see a couple of seasons of consistency before I can say, yeah, for sure, this guy's a world-class player, without a shadow of a doubt. You know what I mean? But so far, he is doing world-class things, 100%. But for me to label that with chest, I need to see it, and I need to see results at the end of it as well. Because we're comparing him to midfielders that score 20 plus goals this season. Yeah, Lampard and these guys. Even in Gerrard's case, you're talking about a man that went to Istanbul against a ridiculous AC Milan team and somehow drug it out of the mud. And that's not the only time. I've seen this man do it in the FA Cup as well. West Ham, if you lot remember, dying minutes, Gerrard, long shot, goal. These are the things that we need to see consistently from players before we can start labeling them as elites and stuff like that.
Do you know?
Fair play, man.
Can I just say, Goonie, as well? You know, even though, because he's 20-year-old though, and I'm saying even past Southgate, because I know a lot of people, that's what everyone said to me on Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, Southgate, he's not going to win with Southgate. I have different opinion, but he's that young, and he's got 8 goals already in La Liga, and we're talking about like 20 goals a season. It's only 8 games in. He's probably going to do it this season if we're being realistic. But do you not see him being that good that, you know, say the next manager's Eddie Howe, he's going to be the focal point, the forefront, right? You'd imagine.
100%. I mean, there's no denying it. When you look at the crop of players that we do, in terms of this generation of what we have, it's a little golden generation. If we're looking across the pitch, we've got quality absolutely everywhere. And quite frankly, I feel like we should have had a trophy by now. I think if we had another manager who was a little bit more experienced at winning stuff, we might have already had the trophy. But in terms of being integral to our success going forward, 100%. You build a team around a player like this, and this should be no different in terms of England. 100%. I agree with you there, Joe.
It's interesting, man. D, let me come to you on this one. We'll come back to the manager in a minute, but this is the best crop of players I've seen in a while. Now, I understand defensively there's some problems. I was speaking to Emilio today, funny enough, because he's obviously Italy fan, and he was sort of saying, defensively, I'm still not sure about England, but my God, going forward, you are unreal. Yeah, they could have been 2-0 up in the first half, to be fair to Italy, but I do think defensively we're not quite there. But I will say this, I think squad-wise, it's the strongest it's been in a while. So, moving on towards the manager and like a nice little segue, I want to come to you on the squad and the pressure that Southgate's got on him, D.
Yeah, he's got a lot of pressure on him. He's progressed England squad. I think there's a union within the squad. Back in the day, you could argue with some of these, players. There was that club over country. Like sometimes you heard like talks about whether because he's a Man United player, whether he'd get along with Chelsea players and stuff. But you don't have that now. You have all these players that want to genuinely play for England. And I think Southgate's done that. But if you look at Southgate overall, Southgate should have won something by now. I think with the amount, the talent that you got, just moving aside, if these players were playing for another country, you would think, how on earth has this group of players not won anything yet? Yes, you've gone to finals. Yes, you've gone to semi-finals as well. But with these group of players, you have to win. You have to win. And Southgate has failed in terms of winning. He's progressed the squad, but when it comes to it, to thick and mud of it, he hasn't won. And the reason why is because I don't think he is the manager to go and lead. Like, you don't even have to be a great manager to win with this team. Like, genuinely, this team has so many options and so many quality players that you just need to be a capable manager. And I think he's failed. Even watching the first half against it, maybe I was tired, but I was nearly falling asleep. I had to step out of the house. It was boring. It was boring watching it. And I'm looking at players out on the pitch. I'm thinking, how on earth could this be boring? Like, you've had Harry Kane for how many years? You've had all these players, and you still can't go and win something. Yet you still, at times, gets boring. As you said, Italy could have scored 2 goals. And not Italy's a bad nation, but with England, I guess it has to fall down to luck. With the Euros run, when England did lose in the finals to Italy, it was a very favourable run. And I think people take that out of context. If England was on the other side of the draw where Italy was, I don't know if England would have went to the final. And you saw it in the final. He just didn't have the courage to go and make the big calls. He just sat back after England 1-0 up. And he went south. Southgate is not the man. He's not the man. And I fear the day that he becomes a Palace manager, because if he can't do it with this group of players, then God knows what he's going to do with other players. Like, I don't rate Southgate. I just don't. I think he's done a good job, but it's time now for England to actually go win something and get a winning manager, because Southgate, I think he's a very good manager, as I said. But in terms of winning, I mean, there's still question marks. There's still very big question marks for me with Southgate. He might win the Euros next year, but England should have won something by now. They really should have with the players.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that was my argument about it. Was I think he's done well, but would somebody else have done weller or better? So for me, that's the way I see it. Dave, let's come to you. Do you know what, Dave? Last time we spoke, you're a little bit on the fence with Southgate. You were like, look, I think he's done a great job. I really like the man. I think he handles the media really well. But I understand where people are coming from in terms of concerns. Are you still on that fence, bro?
Yeah, I am. I think he's done a tremendous job with this group of players. You get any one of that 25 or whatever the squad is on, get them on here now tonight and say, do you like playing for him? They all want to play for him. They love him, right? They all want to give everything for this guy. And I go back to that Iceland game in 2016 when we were the biggest laughingstock on this planet. We were a disgrace, an utter disgrace, right? And if you'd said to me at that time, right, Dave, you'll have a semi, a final, and a quarter, I'd have said, no way, go away. I'm talking rubbish. So Gareth Southgate has done an amazing job. He's, the fact is, and not some of these people won't like it, he's the second best manager England have ever had. There's only Alf Ramsey better. Alf Ramsey won it. Gareth Southgate is the only manager to take any of this country to a final. Fabio Capello, get out of here. Roy, great bloke, not good enough for England. Steve McLaren, do me a favour. You know what I mean? We've had some Don Revie, dreadful. We've had some terrible managers. Sam Allardyce, right? You look so when people were saying, "Oh, Gareth Southgate's got to go," and I would say, "Yeah, no, replace him with Roy Hodgson, get Sam Allardyce in, get Fabio Capello in, get Sven-Goran Eriksson in. Dreadful, all of them." This guy, admittedly, had a low bar to start with, and he's done well. I'm 90-10 with Gareth Southgate. The 90 is the dignity, the way he represents my country, the way he doesn't bring any sort of bad feeling onto us from other countries. He's neutral. He diffuses everything. You can't get at him. There's no dirt, right? Give me him over every single politician in this country right now. The 10% is I'd just love to sit next to Gareth, who I think I would get on really, really well. I think he's a lovely fella. And I say,
Dave, you get on well with everybody, mate.
I'd love to sit next to Gareth and say, you know what, Gareth, why don't you just be a little bit rock and roll, mate? Why don't you go like that 10%? Why didn't you say why didn't you say to Italy in that final when you had on the ropes? Tell you what, Italy, F you. I mean, last night they did it. Well, everybody's saying this is a poor Italy side. I looked last night. I thought, blimey, the country I love, the team I love, almost as much as Nottingham Forest, are thumping the European champions off the pitch, outclassing them, and doing it with some fantastic. Certainly, second half. First half, my problem first half is. And where the idea of boring play comes back from is it seemed to me the first half was just about Stones and Maguire knocking the ball to each other. And they are the two, not so much Stones, but to me, I would have picked that same 11 last night. I'd have left Phillips out and I'd have left Maguire out. I would have put Guehi in next to Stones. When Guehi came on, his cameo was foot perfect. Who hit the ball for Harry Kane? Mark Guehi. It's absolutely superb. I saw him at Palace a couple of weeks ago. He's an excellent player. We joked about the valuations of Guehi. They're not jokes anymore. This kid is a really superb player. And he came on and he slotted in seamlessly. So he would start for me. And then I would play another attacking midfielder. Declan can do everything that him and Calvin Phillips. I mean, Calvin Phillips just looked rusty. I love Calvin Phillips. He's a good lad, but he looked out of his depth last night. Declan can do all of that and play somebody else. Jude, I mean, going back to Jude, and I'm sorry to have to drag it back there, lads, but why not? He's so wonderful. Jude is all about potential. Still, he's already at a callow age. He's achieved incredible things. A captain of a German, challenging title contending Bundesliga team at 19. That's astonishing. That's like doing your A levels at the age of 5. It's astonishing, right? He goes to the most pressurized club in the world, where Jonathan Woodgate, they wanted him dead after a fortnight. He's got them singing. He's got them in the palm of his hand.
Will you stop bringing up like ex-Leeds? I'm sure you're digging it. You've done Revie, Johnny Woodgate.
Plans working, Botsy. But the thing is with Jude, to me, because I'm older than you guys, probably all put together, the greatest thing in the player of them all is Bobby Moore. Bobby Moore is my everything when it comes to England. He raised the World Cup. He was just magnificent as a footballer, the way he conducted himself, the way he played. Jude has the potential to get there. Gooney's absolutely right. I want to see it through the age of 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, going further on. The comparison, I think, with Jude is, I love his personality. What a credit to Denise and Mark Bellingham. What a job they've done to bring him up. Boy, I'd like some of their DNA to spread around the world. It would be fantastic. He's got it. He was laughing during a match. Fantastic to see a kid loving like he's enjoying his football. Right? He conducts himself. Who was the first to Harry Kane when Harry Kane missed the penalty in the quarterfinal? Jude, the youngest man in the squad. He's got this supernatural maturity. The only player I can think of that in this country we've ever had, and I only know from what I've read and what I've been told by my dad, who was a proper football man, and my granddad, Duncan Edwards, right? Back in the 50s, Duncan at 18 was the England side, and this is the nearest thing we've had to Duncan Edwards. He's not the finished article. He has to prove to us, absolutely, totally agree with Gurney. He has to prove to us that he can do it over a prolonged period, and he has to get us a trophy. You know, with some good guys around him. And this is a smashing squad. I just think it needs defensively bolstering, but the rest of it's fine, right? Then we can say about Jude. But I just think his potential is limitless, and he's likable. And he's like, I watched him last night, and I was put in mind of Zidane. And I don't think you can pay a guy high confidence. The people at Real Madrid are already talking of, they've given him his shirt. They've given him Zidane's shirt. So, you know, with England, it's a fantastic work in progress. I still think France are the team to beat in the Euros. I mean, I looked at the betting. England are favourites now. France are favourites for me. Been there, done it, and seen it. England are still learning. So I think France are the team. My ideal Euro final will be England-France. I think it'd be a great game, that, and a chance for England to get revenge. But I just, with Gareth, I mean, the truth is, we ought to with this team.
Yeah.
He'll never manage Palace because Gareth will never manage a league side again.
Yeah.
When he finishes with England, he'll go back into the FA system.
Mate, he'll go manage Saudi Arabia, man. He's been picking up Henderson and going for the bag, man. I'm telling you.
Jeez, that's my biggest worry, I'll be honest.
He won't go Palace. He ain't going Palace, I'll tell you that, man. He ain't going Palace.
He's been linked with Palace a few times. I mean, if he can't do it with England, jeez, I don't know.
You don't want him, man.
I think that's the way you say that, if he can't do it with England, that as though, like, we have a God-given right. You know, we were winning things before, so therefore, of course, you've got to win something. Like, to say that's wild for me, because
there's been progress, Joe. There's been progress, but with this group of players, you think this is enough? You think Italy in the final was enough? You think that?
I hear it. I hear it. Yeah, of course.
As I said, he's progressed, but overall, when you look at it, when it comes to the end goal, so far he has failed. He hasn't won anything with his group of players.
Imagine.
We're talking about players, by the way. We talk about Gay, 80 million, Harry Kane, 100 million, Jude Bellingham, all this. He probably has one of the.
Gay 80 million. Where did that one come from? Where did you get that one in? Gay 80 million, Kane 100 million. Where did you get that in? How did you do that?
My point is, he's got one of the. You got Foden, you got all these other players, and he still hasn't won anything. He's so far.
All I would say is,
achieve the end goal. He has to win something. He has to.
Golden generations don't often deliver. Look at Belgium's golden generation. Didn't come up with anything. Our golden generation back in that World Cup in South Africa in 2010, our lot were a shambles, unlikable, didn't like each other, hated their Martinet disciplinary manager. We do not possess a tradition, unless you count the tournoi, which I don't. We do not have a tradition of winning international competitions. Now,
you're right. Finger and Eriksson, when he had that 2002, 2004, that was an unbelievable 11. Like, probably, you look at the Premier Leagues all time, they're pretty much all in there. Siemens, Ashley Coles, Neville's, Rio, Terry, Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, Beckham, Owen Rooney. It's crazy, man. Like, you think about it now, like, how many of the current crop of England?
That's the Premier League Hall of Fame.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And like, how many of the current crop would actually get into that first 11? There's not many.
You got to contextualize it, because, you know, as good as that team was, look at the other international teams that were around England at the time. And this is why I say, in that time, the quality of players was a lot better than what we're seeing now. Because when you're looking at a Brazil team that's got Kaká, Ronaldinho, all these guys, brother.
Rivaldo,
It's same way you're talking about Premier League Hall of Famers. We're talking all-time Hall of Famers. Even that France team, my brother, Thierry Henry, Patrick Vieira, and these guys, bro. Yo, man.
Even Spain, Goonie, like Spain, you know, when they had like the Xavi Iniestas of this world, and then obviously Torres and Vieira.
But we're not getting beat by them sides.
There's a reason
but
why
we're not getting beat by. I hear what you're saying, but we weren't getting beat by them sides.
But were England favourites then, Joe?
Back then, with that team, we were in the conversation.
To win, like
we were in the conversation. We were in the conversation. Not like 98, but after that, Gerard Lampard. Not 98, but
there's a reason why England are favourites, because as I said,
yeah, now I agree with you, D. I'm not disagreeing with you, bro. I believe that we will win the Euros, but if we don't, is it a failure? Yes. For me, it has all been building up to this point. There's a lot to be said about experience in the players as well, mentality in the players. You know, look at Arsenal. Take Arsenal, for example. The difference you will see from them this season, if they're still in a title race, to what it was last time. And I just think if England are in a final again, especially on home soil, then they will win it. They will win it for me.
I actually fancy us more on German soil than I did on our own, because there's less pressure on German soil. And if we're talking about Southgate and bringing in, again, as Gunny says, contextualising England, we don't have a tradition of winning anything. You imagine the pressure on Nagelsmann there, where they win. They are serial winners. He has got real problems. They are a poor side. I actually think at the moment there are only 2.5 really, really good international teams. I think the two that were in the World Cup final and England, Spain maybe, but there aren't any other international teams knocking your eye out. Hence why most people think international weekends are. Let's get back to the. I mean, I've really enjoyed this international weekend. It's been great to see lots of different countries playing each other, you know. But
I just feel that, well, I feel football's cyclical, right? And this isn't about Southgate. I feel football's cyclical. And if you look at lower level national sides of England now, they're all winning. Steve Cooper won the World Cup, didn't he? I forget which age range it was, but
17.
Yeah, Lewis Cook was in that side and many others. The under-21s obviously won the Euros more recently. I just feel that do you remember when Germany sort of like ripped it up and their infrastructure and everything? And we obviously
after they lost to us 5-1.
Yeah. And we did the sort of St. George's Park thing and all that sort of stuff. I just feel it's our time. Now, whether or not that's in the Euros with Gareth or not, but I just feel with the current crop, obviously Kane, he's getting towards the back end, but the majority of them are still very, very young. And I just feel that it is building up to England actually doing bits. And
do you know what though, Joe?
Go on, mate.
Do you know what? Do you know what? I'll throw this to Goonie actually, because he'll kind of, I reckon he'll, out of everyone, he'll kind of get this. I was speaking to Northside yesterday. We got Northside, he's on the channel. Yeah, and I was chatting to him and I said, oh, mate, I was like, we've got Gareth Southgate and Mikel Arteta. Neither of them have got anything across the line yet. And everyone seems to be talking about him in the same light, club and country. And we were, of course, talking a little bit tongue in cheek, right? But actually, like, a lot of people are bringing it up in the last few months. Like, Arsenal, Mikel Arteta is very similar to Gareth Southgate. Look at what he's done. Look at this, what he's done. Look at this culture. Look at this togetherness. Look at this on the pitch. Look how well he handles the media. And then a lot of the people that are like, yeah, that's calm. I just want to win something now. And I kind of feel like that with England and with Arsenal now. So,
and I'll say this as well, Potts. I feel like I get it. Like, in the past, England have failed. But I don't know why that's a reason for now being okay with how it is now. Like, I don't know. We keep mentioning about England's past, about England, you know, not being this country to win things. But, I mean, that's the whole point. You want someone to change it. Like, you want, and you think, and this squad is good enough to win something. So, I don't know. I think there needs to be like a mentality shift as well in terms of like putting that pressure. Because I'll be honest, if Southgate wasn't a nice guy, and I think he's a very nice guy, he would be under way more pressure than he is right now. He's already under pressure, but I think the media have actually like Southgate, and I understand why, because he has restored that pride. He's got a good connection with the players as well. But Southgate does get away with things as well because of how much of a likable person he is. And if it was someone else, and if it wasn't Southgate and another manager, I don't know if he would be as calm as he is right now. I will say, as a person, helps him a lot.
What I will say in response to that, D, I feel there's been a turn of the tide over the last couple of weeks. I feel that the pressure is building because England, we are as a country, myself included, expectant. I think the press are expectant. I don't think he's handled this Henderson situation well because, he's saying, players aren't, they shouldn't be politicians or whatever, and then he's like making him captain, and he's over in Qatar, and we all, regardless of what you think of his decision, he's made a rod for his own back by them making him captain and having to deal with them questions. I actually feel he's coming under a lot more scrutiny and a lot more pressure now than he has done previously. And even me, I'm like, yes, I'm thinking, why are you playing Henderson? Like, what are we doing? Why are we giving him the captain? That situation, I'm not too sure. Is it because he's one of your favourites? You're just causing issues for yourself in a no-mark friendly against Australia. So I think it is turning slightly with that, but I much prefer this than previous, where the press just are out to dig them out regardless finding stories on them.
I don't think there's anyone that's handled the media better than him. I'll give him that.
True.
I think he's been
the media's helped with reports. It's not like he's made some very questionable decisions, but the media's been on his side for years now. He has.
But then again, Capello.
How's Maguire still there? How is he still there? I mean, we talk about Henderson. Even Calvin Phillips getting into the side. How? Like,
let me speak on
it. He's been in the past, but he's not getting.
Ward-Prowse, man. Ward-Prowse, I feel for him. That's harsh.
He's not like I don't like he's making his decisions and then he's leaving others out who deserve it more.
I think the reason that is though, D, that people, and I'll let Joe comment on this because I know he wants to talk about Phillips, but I think the reason people, it's not even so much like, they're not playing. It's because Gareth Southgate walked in and said, those who deserve to play will be playing. Play well for your club, you'll play well for England. And now we're seeing Harry Maguire getting in, Calvin Phillips getting in, Jordan Henderson's gone over to Saudi, he gets picked. James Ward-Prowse being left at home, which, to be fair, one of the best signings so far this season has been James Ward-Prowse, to be fair. And I don't even really think he's outstanding, if I'm honest. I think he's a good player. He deserves to be in there ahead of the likes of like the Conor Gallaghers of this world and the Calvin Phillips of this world. So that's my honest opinion. Go on, Joe.
Yeah, I just obviously I think it's like, would I care as much if he hadn't come through Leeds Academy? Then probably not. I can't lie to you.
Or his nan was so lovely.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Yeah, but all I've heard obviously is Calvin this, Calvin that, and he's having to field questions about his future and whatnot. And I think he will go on loan in January, which will then shut any doubters up, really, because he will make the squad. I think he's already on the play. He's already there. Regardless, people need to like it or lump it. He's already there. He's one of Gareth Southgate's lieutenants, man, in terms of what he does on the pitch. He's just going to sit in that position where he's going to allow Rice to go forward. I'm not so. I get James Ward-Prowse. I hear it, but I'm not sure he can do what Calvin can do in terms of being just a six in a sense, and letting Rice being able to venture forward, because he does like to do that, right? It's not as if they're both. People say, we're sitting so defensively. I don't think Rice and Calvin do just sit there. I think Rice likes to get forward. We see that he's a decent ball carrier. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm not sure. Like just Prowse can sit there and do what Calvin can. But yeah, listen, I'm always going to back him because I love the lad. But has he let England down?
This is the thing, John.
Not in Euro 2020. No,
I'm not calling him out saying this guy's a waste. What the hell? Get him out of the team. Likewise, Maguire hasn't really let England down. I know he scored an own goal the other week against Scotland, whatever. But for me, I look at it and think that to me is like, okay, no one else bother trying then because you ain't getting in. Whatever you do, you ain't getting in. Ben White's come. I think there's a quote I saw today from Ben White saying, I'm not really too fussed. This manager didn't like me, so I'll just wait for him to go. And then I'm sure someone will actually have some sense to pick me and play me.
What he said?
Yeah, along those lines. I mean, don't quote me on that word for word, but it was basically like that. And that's what's happened. And there was lots of rumours about that. He's basically been unprofessional, hasn't he? That's what's happened. And then now Southgate's like, if you don't want to play for me, mate, no problems. I think Gareth won't be around forever. This probably is his last tournament, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But a lot of people might disagree.
Even if he wins
really,
it, I think he goes. Even if he wins it,
even if he wins it, I agree.
Yeah.
But Goonie, come on, man. Like, I know you've got some opinions on Southgate, and I want to hear.
Put me in the bin, Goonie. Put me in the bin.
Yeah, I never actually have heard your. Whenever I've been doing streams of Goonie for like, well, God knows how long, 18 months. It's been like Southgate out at the end of every like stream. So
why Southgate? Explain it.
Because it correlates with this crop of players that we've got. Because again, it's down to context. Hold on. Yeah, I believe that with this crop of players, we definitely should be winning something. And I, like all of you guys, have seen, well, the last golden generation disappoint us. I don't want to see it again. The last time we won a World Cup was in 1966. I wasn't even swimming around during them time. I mean, so for me, with the talent that we have, and even going back to Euro 2020, I'll be completely real with you. I think it should have been us. I think it should have been us in the final. I think we had enough to get past Croatia. I think that was a bit of a disappointment that we didn't go through. Now, fair enough. I'm not going to entirely put the blame on Gareth Southgate, because Harry Kane should have squared that. Do you know what I mean? He definitely should have squared that. Sterling was in a better position to put that away, and perhaps this conversation would have been a little bit different. But I just don't trust him to get it over the line, because there's managers that I've seen in the past that have got to finals, semi-finals, that have, got to respectable positions, but they've just struggled to get it over the line. They just don't have that extra bit about them to get it over the line. And I just think Gareth Southgate fits that category. And if I'm honest, even when Gareth Southgate was appointed, I was very disappointed, because I looked at this man's credentials beforehand. This is a man that relegated Middlesbrough. He didn't have the best record. Me personally, I thought the best fit at that time was Eddie Howe. That's who I really wanted to go for. I believe a man like him could have actually taken it over the line. But now that he's at Newcastle and you're seeing what he's doing, there's two questions that I've got to be asked now. Is he even going to leave Newcastle to take the England job? Chances are he's not. Do you know what I mean? So look at what this guy's developed into. So I can say from my hindsight that potentially, I honestly believe that had he had been the manager, we perhaps would have, we could have got to that final 100%. Whether we would have won it, I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know. I just don't trust Gareth. I just don't trust him. I haven't trusted him for a while. So yeah.
I tend to feel, and it kind of touches on what Joe sort of alluded to earlier, that we might win it in spite of Gareth Southgate. I just think there's a confluence of things. I think Joe made a great point about St George's Park. It's literally 3 miles up the road from me, where I live. And me and my old man went up there one day and had a look round. We had a cup of tea and whatever, because and it's an unbelievable place, St George's Park. It's a hub. It's a headquarters that we've needed for a long time. I think there's that. I think the fact that a lot of international football around the world isn't as good as it was previously. We've also got the most high-profile league in the world in this country. I think that helps. If you go back to Serie A back in the 90s, that was the league to be in. Now it's us. And I just think, I don't know, maybe I'm just a ridiculous optimist. I've just got a feeling it'll happen with or without Gareth Southgate. I think we might end up winning it. I actually can see us winning in Germany next year. I really can. I mean, we've all 5 of us talked about what we believe to be the current best player on the face of the earth, this 20-year-old kid from Birmingham. So we've got a talisman. We've not really, our talismans in the past have always been, they've been all right, but they've never been great. Beckham was good, but not great. Rooney was good, but not great. Gerrard, Lampard, they were all kind of like nearly men. I never trusted any of them. Jude Bellingham is probably the first player in my lifetime, and I was alive when a World Cup was won. I trust Jude Bellingham now. I trust Harry Kane. I trust Phil Foden. I trust people like that, Declan Rice, in a way that I've never trusted anybody since when I was a kid, and it was Bobby Moore, Jeff Hurst, Bobby Charlton, these great players. And in terms of management, I mean, the only managers of England I've trusted before him, Sir Alf, obviously, because he got the job done, and he was eccentric, and he didn't pick Greaves in the final, and lots of people moaned. You know, he's picking his favourites again. I ran a team for 17 years. I pick my favourites, my 11 favourites every week. It's a manager's prerogative, right? So I wasn't happy about Jordan Henderson being picked. I don't think Harry Maguire's a fit. But if Gareth's the man in position, I can't change his view for him. I'm just a supporter. I'm just a nobody sat watching the telly. You know what I mean? So it's Bobby Robson and Terry Venables, and the crap that especially Bobby had to go through. He was hounded by the press. You know what I mean? So Gareth Southgate, I don't think he's the complete package. Like I say, I'm 90% for, 10% against. I think there's nuance to it, but he's the first thing that I mean. He's almost like he's neutered the media brilliantly. They can't get. You don't see Southgate out. If he was that bad a manager, and the feeling in the country was Southgate out, and the papers often reflect the feeling in the country, he sat there, and then nobody's landing a blow on him. But I think it will happen with or without him. Hopefully, in my lifetime. You know, I mean, I honestly, if you'd have said to me before the last Euros, which was spread all over Europe, England will get to the final, I never trusted them. It's like I don't trust Forest after 3 decades of like underachievement. England are slowly earning my trust, but it's not the full deal yet. You know what I mean? But I think at the moment we've never been better placed. I think.
Yeah, and I think you're right in that. And D, I'll ask you on this before I move. The current crop, there's probably 5 positions, maybe more. I don't know, without going through it properly, that you'd look at and say, they are one of the best in the world in their position. Not the best in the world, but one of the best in the world. Harry Kane, for example, even Bukayo Saka, you look at Declan Rice. We've just spoken about Jude Bellingham. There's 4 or 5 positions there where you'd look at and go, okay, they might not be the best because there's others in the world, right? But if you were doing like a top 5, maybe top 3, I think they'd all be in the mentions. So that's why I'm with you, D. He's been given the tools now and he's got to deliver, bro.
Yeah, and if England do win it, it might sound wild, but I think it's the players that won it. Because if he was a good enough manager, he would have won it in the past. It's simple as that. Now we add.
You are not allowed to do that. You cannot
he's not
do that.
He isn't anything special. I think it's.
So I tell you what, we might as well not have a fucking manager then. Is that what we're saying?
What was that?
We might as well not have a manager at all then. That you can't do that, D. It's like that's pure agenda driven. Like if he loses, he's shit. If he wins, he's shit.
He's just a shit manager.
Well, that's just crazy talk.
Shit manager.
How come
you add Bellingham into this? You add Bellingham into this, then the quality speaks. He's a shit manager. He's so negative.
He didn't look like a shit manager last night when we were thumping the European champions. 3-1 against the European champions.
I'm talking about if he does. So, like, if Gareth Southgate had gone around the corner for a couple of teams and said, let him get on with it. We're saying that England will win it. Why all of a sudden will England win it now? When we have the same
I'm not saying they will win it, but we've never been better placed to make a good run at it.
Because of the players, not because of Southgate.
All right, okay. So
Southgate. Southgate is nothing special.
Okay, so back to what Dan was saying earlier about that golden generation that makes it into the Premier League Hall of Fame. Why didn't they do it then?
Because they were all individuals pursuing their own agenda.
Ashley Cole, John Terry, Rio Ferdinand, Gary Neville.
Once again, the teams.
See what I mean. So you can't win with people like you.
The teams that England faced, the international level competition, and the teams that were out there, it was way more difficult. England genuinely have, if not the best in the Euros, they will have the best squad.
Yes, I agree with you, but you're also saying I agree
about that. Southgate, Joe. Would they take Southgate at Leeds?
Okay, so no. You can't do this because club football to international football is different. Let me say this then. So Pep Guardiola, if he leaves City tomorrow, does City win? Just in spite of him because they've got the best team. No, the answer's no. The answer's no. The answer's no. So I rest my case. It's not different.
You just said international football and club football is different. So you just compare club football to international football.
Let me just say something.
Joe, I didn't ask you a question. Would you take Southgate?
Go on, Goody.
And you said international football, club football is different. And then you used after that a comparison of club football to international football. Fair. So how does that work? You just said it's different.
If you look at a squad, listen, when you look at a squad of 11 players, I'm not saying that it happens all the time. Sometimes it does. I'm going to give you a case in point. You know, Pep built that Barcelona team. Did they go on to win after he left? 100%. Who won for them? This guy's at PSG right now. How well has he done since he's left Barcelona? Do you know what I mean? That Bayern Munich team, it won a treble. Do you know what I mean? I know Pep did take it over afterwards, but he still got the double. You can't say that, you know, if you look at that crop of players, it did massively help Pep Guardiola. Let's have it right. And in terms of Pep and his style of management, if we're gonna compare it, this man is used to being given the best tools in football available more times out of 10. He's had that in his career. Sometimes, and another example that I can give you, the Brazil team, what's his name? The guy that came to our club.
Scolari.
Scolari.
The man said,
Scolari.
the man said at times, right, the amount of talent that was available to him, he just used to stand there and not have to say anything and just let these guys play football. And they still got results. Look at the crop of players we're talking about there again. Kaka, R9, who else is in that squad? My brain it's not functioning now, but you know the quality of players that have been in there. Even with the France team, me personally, when I look at Didier Deschamps, do I think he's one of the best managers to ever do this? Full stop. No, I do not. I don't. But what I feel has helped him massively is the talent pool that's been made available to him. Now, what I will give these managers is that they still, no matter how much talent you've got, they still have to pick a squad, or they have to pick an 11 that is going to work. Because like Dave said, and like you said, Joe, as well, that England squad in those positions, all timers, but it didn't work out because it didn't gel. You know what I mean? So I think there's a case for both sides, to be honest, because we can point to examples where, you know, players have quote unquote just gone by their initiative and have done well. And there are others that have, you know, you'd expect them to go on and do well, but they haven't done well. So I think it kind of works on both sides.
Would you give? Yeah, I hear it, but all I took annoyance with D, and I'll ask you, Goonie, because I know you're not his biggest fan. If Gareth won, are we still going to give him praise for that? Are we going to give him flowers for that? Or are we going to say, nah, it's nothing to do with him at all?
No, I mean, I'm not. Listen, regardless of how I feel about him, regardless of how I feel about him, you can't be disingenuous, because at the end of the day, winning and he's still got to get it over the line. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be disingenuous. He will get his flowers. You know what I mean? But there still will be that element in the back of my mind that this is pretty much an elite squad of an 11 that he's got there. You know what I mean? So these are some of the best players in the world. Like Dan said, when we look around the pitch, it's arguable that several of them positions have got top 5 in the world in them positions. So yeah.
Let me ask you quickly to close on this. Gareth Southgate wins or loses, he goes, in my opinion, let's just say he goes whatever, right? Just literally go around one name of who you would like to see as the new England manager. D, start with you, bro.
David Moyes.
Are you being you're being facetious, right?
Is that disingenuity?
Well, I mean, David Moyes he's won something. I mean, he won the Conference League, didn't he? He's won a European trophy, and he's doing well. What can we pick anyone else? Like, can we just say Eddie Howe?
Pick whoever you think.
Just don't say David Moyes again, please.
Eddie Howe. Oh, anyone in the world. I'll pick Pep. But yeah, like if we're being realistic, Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe. Joe.
Graham Potter.
Yeah, that's a shout as well.
Goonie.
Do you know what? This is gonna sound so wild, but I actually would gamble on Graham Potter. I actually would. All things considered at Chelsea, I actually would, because I just think the setup would be a little bit more favourable for him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I know it's massive pressure managing England, but like when you're week in, week out in the Premier League and you've got fans the way you have in the Prem, do you know what I mean? Having to deal with that on a consistent basis can't be easy. But if he's given the time and he's able to implement the football that he wants with this squad, I don't see why he can't do well. Honestly, we've seen a prototype at Brighton. I know obviously apples and oranges, clubs and countries different, but it's just the style of football when he was given that time at Brighton that he was able to develop. It set the foundations for De Zerbi. Look how well they're doing now. So for me, how can I argue? Can't argue that.
Okay, fair play. Dave?
Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe. All right, Colm, I'm gonna throw one at you. I'm gonna throw one at you then. It ain't gonna be an Englishman.
Arteta.
Jose Mourinho.
Is Herbie. Bielsa.
I'll take Bielsa, of course. He's doing bits with Uruguay, you know. He's doing bits with Uruguay. They beat Brazil yesterday.
I would take this guy because he would win us something. 100%. I'm not a fan of him, but he would win us. Jose Mourinho.
I knew
Jose
it.
Mourinho would win England
Telegraph that.
a World Cup or a Euro.
He's a winner.
And I don't like the guy, but he would win it.
Exactly.
You gotta
Yeah,
get
he's a
into it.
winner. And let me ask you this question.
He's a winner. And it'd be him or Ancelotti for me. Him or Ancelotti.
If you're walking out watching Gareth Southgate, you're going to be walking out watching Mourinho. So
hold on.
At
Wait.
least sure at the end of it, he will actually win something rather than just being a nice guy and getting to the final and not being able to finish. I mean, geez, Southgate is always just there. He's just there, never. Let me ask you this question: if we had a different manager to Southgate, would have England won something by now? Let's say in the final against Italy. If it was Mourinho,
I don't think it is, but I believe so.
I don't think we get there. Gareth was the right man.
Come on, Joe. England had an easy run in that final against Italy.
So why didn't we do it before? Why didn't we do it before? Why didn't we do it under your man Hodgson? Why didn't we do it under Steve McLaren? Why didn't we do it under Sven? Why didn't we do it under Fabio Capello? Fabio Capello was a winner. Fabio Capello was a winner.
But then Joe, out of those managers, one of those Italy teams won the World Cup again. This is what I'm saying. Like going back that far, Italy have won the World Cup recently in their history.
No, I hear it.
You know what I mean? So different eras have different context.
I'm an emotional guy, and Gareth.
At least the way you back him, I really want to see him what he would do at least because
he's a rubbish club football manager, bro. He's rubbish club football manager.
So if England actually do go on and win something, it'll be because they had an easy route to the final and they got lucky.
Yeah, this is what people will say.
This is what I'm saying. It's almost like, why is it a British thing to take something, a bauble, and then, actually, the cynics are better than the optimists because I can see through that. I can see that's not as good as it. Why can't we just celebrate it? When we got to that night, we beat Denmark. I ran around this room that I'm in now without a stitch on, giving it what for? Because my beloved England were in a final. If somebody had said to me, well, they only got there through because Denmark only had 5
No, but it makes it worse. The reason why we're talking about it now, because we just talk about Southgate. We talk about Southgate.
If we win the Euros, bro, I will wear a waistcoat, yeah? I will wear a waistcoat on every single string. I'm going to sit there with a waistcoat, every single string.
Well, I'll wear a waistcoat in the shower, Joe. I'm with you on that.
He failed when it came to the biggest moment. That's why we're talking about the running, because it's like England got to the final under Southgate, but how did England get to the final under Southgate? Cool, he got to the final.
By winning the right amount of games, man.
He failed. And what happened? Look at Italy now. Or Italy even after that. Italy didn't even qualify for the World Cup after that.
Like they've had a massive transition. They've had a massive transition.
But there's so many. But that's what I'm saying. He failed. Southgate has failed at finals.
Gareth's been. I guess you could argue like the transition that Germany are on and that the Italy are on. England were on when Gareth first came in, and now we're building up to this crescendo.
7 years. How many competitions?
It takes a while, bro. It takes a while.
And if he doesn't win Euro 2024. If he doesn't win in Euro 2024,
I agree, failure. I agree.
We better come on here and talk about this guy being a massive, massive failure and wasting a golden generation.
Losing in the final on penalties, failure.
Because that would be incredible. In 7 years, he had 7 years to win something with this squad. You look at some of the players there. You look at some of them.
They have no entitlement whatsoever.
No, exactly, Dave.
D
thinks we're City. D thinks we're City.
Massive failure. There is that. He's a
D thinks we're the City of the national game, man.
One of the worst. One of the worst if he doesn't win it.
One of the worst.
If he doesn't win it, it's a ball job.
He goes back to Palace and he wins an FA Cup.
If he doesn't win Euro 2024, he failed this project. Yes, he brought the players together.
I agree.
This group of players should have won something. Haven't won anything. And if he doesn't get it next year, he has failed the past 5 to 10 years.
And if he does, on the flip side, if he does win it, are you going to give him his flowers and say, are you going to say, yes, thank you, Gareth? I want to we'll come back on this stream, me and my waistcoat, and you're going to say, thank you, Gareth. Thank you.
I'm not putting on naked.
Yeah, if he does,
I shall wear clothes.
If he does, yeah. But that's the thing. We're talking about if he does. If Leeds United win the Champions League next year, we're gonna yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we're doing if some buts.
That's not possible, is it? Have you ever been in the Champions League, D? Have you ever been in the Champions League? D, have you ever been in the Champions League? Have you ever been in the Champions League?
No. But
we've been in the semi-final, bro. Have you ever won a trophy? Have you ever won a trophy?
I mean, in your league.
No, so come on. Get in your box. Get in your box. Get in your box. Get in your box.
You speak to Millwall fans.
Get in your box.
Not Palace right now.
Talk to me when you've experienced Europe.
I hope for your sake he wins it. Because if he doesn't win it, then boy, you are in the mud. Because you.
I don't care, man.
No. Because you backed him a lot, and I'm just saying this guy's a fraud, man. He's a fraud. I don't like him. I like him as a person, but I don't like him as a manager. There's so many things he's done. So many times he played negative football. I just look at the group of players that England has.
Qualified.
Yo, how much do you feel about Roy Hodgson prior to this season, man? Because he plays negative football. He's been sat there going, get this old man out of my club.
I mean, hold up.
Iceland, 2016.
Beat Leeds United 5-1 last year. Let's not forget that.
I'm talking prior to that.
Football beat Leeds United 5-1 at their own ground last year. So, Hodgson negative football, you can't really chat about it because.
Have you ever been in Europe?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, it's mad. Listen, we're going to close on a bit. I want to get some exhausting stream. I want to get a couple of thoughts from some people. I'm going to leave Goonie and I just after I've spoken to D. My Wi-Fi is moving mad. Apparently, it's telling me. So hopefully you can hear me. Joe, quickly at the weekend, man. Leeds, go on, bruv. Talk to me.
We've got Norwich, mate, after the international break. Hopefully Jed Spence and Cole will be back. So, yeah, we just need to continue winning games, mate, and chasing down Ipswich and Leicester. So I think we'll get promoted. I think we'll finish top 2.
So do I. I actually think you will. I really think you'll go up, man. I can't lie. And I look forward to seeing you. I say I look forward to seeing you on this show, but I see you on here all the time anyway. regularly, more regularly.
I can't wait, to come back up under Fark and spank Palace at Selhurst Park, man. And that's all I'm looking forward
to. Bro. You lost 5-1 to us. You're in the championship. Come on, man. There's levels to this. Come on. Get promoted, and then we can talk about spankings. Because right now, you know the championship better than anyone else. You was there for a while. Of course, Palace was there as well, but recently you were there. It's hard to get out of the championship. Like, you might be doing well. With 5 games to go, you might just drop out of the playoffs. That's how it is. So it's all very early. I hope, Joe, you're the only. I hope for your sake, Leeds get promoted.
Thank you, bro.
I genuinely like you. I really like you, Joe.
And I like you.
I wouldn't mind Leeds just staying in the championship. Like, that wouldn't bother me because it's a long away day. It's a long away day to go up to Leeds. So yeah.
Talking of Palace, Race for Europe panel's overachieving side, a surprise package this season was voted. Your team, D. What you saying at the weekend? Who you got?
We got Newcastle.
Tough one, man.
Yeah, away from home, got Newcastle without Eze, Elise. I don't know who else is there. I mean, it was in double digits last time around. Maybe Matheus França, who bought in summer, he might be coming off the bench. But yeah, it's another game. We have to try to keep a clean sheet. 4 out of 8 games so far this season, we've kept a clean sheet, joint top with Arsenal. So as long as we're sort of defensively, if we can get a point from that game and just keep this little run going, I mean, so far this season, then that'd be great. Because, I mean, I'll be honest, I've been massively surprised by Palace as well. We've had one of the worst injury crises. We've lost Zaha. We barely have any attackers. Lost our midfield too. We just have a defense right now, and we're still in the top 10, which is
but Anderson and Gehi, man, big them up because they've been.
And that's what I'm saying. If he add Eze, Elise hasn't played a single minute so far this season. If you add and Eze thrives off of Elise to the side. If you add Lerma back into it, who was fantastic at the start, alongside Decore as well. That's the question is then what happens with Palace? Like, how much better do they get? Because that's what I'm looking forward to. Yes, we're doing well right now, but we haven't even seen the best out of Palace. But I like it as it is because I want us to go quietly about our business. Because of course, there's a lot of hype around West Ham and all the other teams. But you know, I'm happy with how things are going right now with Palace.
Mate, big up Jeffrey Schlupp. That's what I say, man. What a top talent he is, D. I mean, he's doing it for you now, man.
Yeah, it's time to end the show because I mean, let's not talk about Jeffrey Schlupp. With all due respect,
Do you know why I want Jeffrey Schlupp to stay? I want Jeffrey Schlupp to stay in because it's the best name of a fantasy football team. 2 girls, 1 Schlupp. Love it. 2 girls, 1 Schlupp.
Potts, he's the same way I want Arteta to stay in, man. He's he loves a bottle. He loves a bottle.
Well, let's see if he likes the bottle end of this season, my friend. Let's see.
This year is your year because you beat Man City. You beat Man City, it's your year.
Well, I'm still not confident, bro. But it's what we need to do.
You should be confident, man. That's a mental block. You got over it, so it should be good. Look, this season in the Prem, it's been good. It's been a. I know the bottom 3 teams. People talk about it, the competition, like is it poor, whatever. I think the Prem's been exciting this year. I mean, you've had Newcastle beat Villa, thrash Villa. You've had Villa thrash teams like Brighton. Like everyone just on their day could beat anyone. It's not. It's just, that's why the table's so tight. You can lose a game, be 13th, win a game, be 7th, and that's what you want it to be. Apart from the bottom 3 teams, I think it's been actually exciting.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. No, fair play to you, Goonie. I know you got to run. Just quickly give me a prediction for this weekend because you got you. What you saying, bro?
Do you know my ego and my pride will never allow me to say that we'll lose this game, especially against you lot. I'm just gonna say 1-1. That's it. I'm gonna give you the most half-hearted 1-1 I will ever say, but just due to my pride, I cannot concede and say we're gonna lose to you lot. If we lose, make it easy. We lose, but I ain't gonna say it.
All right, calm. I think we'll have too much for you. I do, but I'm gonna go 2-0 just because I know our players are back. But Chelsea have picked up a bit of form, so it'll be silly to go in there and expect to brush past them. So
you have to be Chelsea, though.
See what happens, man.
If you're serious,
yeah, we got to win, man. We got to win. We got to win, man. Goonie, I know you got to run, bro, but thanks for jumping on, my friend. Always a pleasure, man.
Big up the chat. Big up the channel. Laters.
In a bit, Goonie.
Southgate out. You always say Southgate out.
Southgate out, yeah.
I was waiting for that moment. I'm used to it.
He only does it when I'm just about to hit the off button. That's why he didn't done it. Yeah. Listen, let's come to you, Dave. I just quickly, I think Arsenal will win at the weekend. I think we will beat Chelsea. I'm confident with our players back. Do you know what? This is the only time that Arsenal, as long as Saka and Partey are actually okay, this is the first time that Arsenal will get to play their first 11, which is a mad thing to say considering we're like 8-9 games in. But yeah, it's the way we go, man. Joe, I know you've got to go, bruv. You've got your show as well, so I'll finish this off with Dave and D very quick. Big up, man.
Arsenal are going to win the game, and Arsenal are going to win the league, Dan. So go for it. Man. I'm do it.
I hope you're right, my friend.
You will. Right.
Leeds and Arsenal 1-1.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go. Right, I'm out.
Big up, Joe. Big
all
up.
the best, mate.
So this is the first time that Arsenal actually get to play their first 11 and best 11. So I'm excited to see that. I think Declan Rice, Partey, and Ødegaard in the middle. The first time we're going to see that yet. I pray that Partey's okay for it. And then obviously, if Saka's back, we'll have Saka, Martinelli, and Jesus, which is the front 3 that we all want to see. And those 6: Rice, Partey, Ødegaard, Saka, Jesus, Martinelli. That's scary, man. I'm sorry. I'm not saying it just because I'm Arsenal, but no one wants to come up against them, man. So let's see what happens. Now I've said that, I'll probably lose to Chelsea.
No, that's what I was thinking as well. I was thinking, imagine all of this, and then you have it just start. Like everyone's
we lose 1-0 or something, yeah.
I just thinks about, I don't know, it's physical, and Havertz just started in midfield, and you see one of them.
I don't want Havertz coming on, but I ain't having him starting in that 8.
Probably haven't got too much long, but if I look, you had to beat City for the mental block to get over it, and I think it was a fantastic win for Arsenal. Just beating City. It's since 2015, which is crazy. So that's a positive. But I think all Arsenal fans know that it's early days. But the question is with City, which is kind of scary in a way, is that people are kind of starting to doubt them in a way. I mean, I'm hearing a few talks about City. I haven't got rhythm and all that. But this is a City that with Rodri and Kevin De Bruyne, they were fantastic, and these players are still to come back. Yes, they've hit a patch now, but yeah, I think Arsenal need to win these games. Like now that you beat City, you just have to go on a nice little run. Just keep getting these wins, add that pressure onto City, and take it seriously this year because Potts, like Arteta's done. I think he's done a great job in terms of bringing Arsenal to the levels. Because let's be honest, last year. Before the start of last season, Arsenal fans probably would have been happy with top 4. Nothing about the title. no one talked about a title last year. And he exceeded expectations, the Arteta. But now, because of them expectations, he needs to try and deliver something. If it's not the Prem, and I've said this before as well, if Arsenal get a nice little run in Champions League, that could be the one to look out for as well. It could be. If City do pick it up, it could be. But it depends on the... But I think you have got the talent. You have to win one of the two. It's a very, like, I mean, winning Champions League would be fantastic. Winning Prem would be fantastic. So I don't think you'll be upset with either. But something needs to be delivered, because last year, I felt like, I know a lot of Arsenal fans will hate me for this, and do. Last year, Arsenal bottled the league. And the reason why I say that, yes, you can say Saliba got injured, but you don't go draw against Southampton at home. You don't go have a result like that against West Ham. It wasn't even the City game. It was the other games that kind of like, what's going on with Arsenal. And the season before that, it was a top four. In the period of time, you should have finished in the top four. Then afterwards, you lost against Palace or drew against Palace, Newcastle and stuff. So 2 years in a row, there's been progress, over exceeded expectations. But when it comes to the new expectations, Arteta's failed to deliver, whether that's the title or the top four. Now, there's been progression along that line. Now, this season, he has to try and deliver. Like, the next expectation is to try to win things. And there isn't anything below winning. Like, you either win or you don't. And now it comes down to it. And
I agree with you, bro.
Manager, and he's look. Look at the Emirates now compared to like 5 years ago. There's a genuine buzz around it, and Arteta is the reason for that. But for you lot, for his sake, let's see what you do this season, because that City win was great, but you have to beat Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, we have to. And, you know, we've got Chelsea, Newcastle away, Sheffield United, Burnley at home. I'd like to think that's a minimum of 10 points in out of the 12 games there. I understand St. James's Park is really tough. I'd like to think we could at least, I think we'll beat them. I do. But I like to think we can at least get a point there and win the others. That's what we got to do. If we want to win the title, we've got to win them all, really, because City, they're going to, I'll tell you this now, City, I feel sorry for Brighton, because that's the last team I want to play coming back from the international break is them. And I'm not saying that because they're the best team in the world. It's how they have lost the last few games. They're going to be wanting to go in on Brighton. And I think Rodri being back, they're just going to go for it. And I think it could be quite unpleasant for Brighton personally. Before I move to Dave, big up Clement, says, let's get the likes up. Football's 12th man. Dan's joining a great job of getting football fans on his channel. So let's back the man with at least 150 likes before the content ends. Thanks so much, Clement. I didn't even read the whole of that. I just saw likes for Football 12th man. So thank you for that, bro. Much appreciated. Make sure you do hit the like. Make sure you do subscribe. Our next target is 13k people. So let's make sure that we can get us all there. Dave, Forest, I don't even know, man. Who you got at the weekend?
Luton at home, mate.
So big game. That is a big game. That is a big game.
It's a relegation 6-pointer. You know, and I know everybody.
Forest at the moment. So humble, Dave. Like you've been doing well. Nothing about relegation talk so far.
No,
you should be trying to beat Luton. It's going to be hard. I get what you're saying. It's Luton, but.
Do you know why I say it? It's because it's one of those banana skins that Forest for so long made a point of slipping up on. And the good thing is Steve Cooper won't in any way at all underestimate Luton. He'll look at them and think this is a really tough game. Luton, I'm sure, and Dave would agree with me, Luton will be looking at Nottingham Forest like they looked at Everton, thinking we can get something there, you know. And Luton's XG, I was looking at XG, whatever that means, but Luton should be higher in the table than they are based on their XG. So I think there are a lot of dangers of Forest. What I would say about us is we've played 8 games to this point, and in not in one of them have we stumped the place out. I mean, you know, we've been really, really good in patches. We've been a little bit naive and a little bit not quite good in patches. You know, every game that we've played, right from the start at Arsenal through to the last one at Palace, Forest have been in every game, which I think is a really nice incremental progression from last season. I mean, with all due respect to the last game, there were 5 great Forest chances to 1 Palace chance. I think Gurhey and Anderson that night were fantastic. I love those two. Sam Johnson's a cracking keeper. Tyreek Mitchell's good. Jezerin Raksaki looked a real handful. You know, he gave Harry Toffolo something to think about. But we really came away from that thinking, you know, Morgan hits the post. Danilo's dance of dazzlement, you know, when he went through.
Yeah, he tried to match out in the second half.
Mate,
Yeah,
Murillo,
he,
Murillo. I was speaking to Kev on here, as you know, Dave,
yeah,
and he was saying like if he carries on, he's going to be a talent.
yeah.
That Murillo.
Yeah, the thing is, Dan, about that game at Palace. Okay, the run was amazing where I think he beat 30 or 40,000 Croydon residents before he had the shot. Not only that, but his range of passing was fantastic. So he hit the ball for Morgan to hit the post. He hit, to me, the best ball he hit. All of the play, all of Forest and Palace, it seemed, were down Forest's left-hand side, Palace's right-hand side. And if it was a Harry Toffolo, Nathaniel Klein thing, and Murillo got the ball out on the left and he hit it right across the Forest right to Serge Aurier and completely changed the game. And I thought it was a wonderful pass. So he's got that ability. With us, it's just I want us to really cement the progress by beating Luton, but I think it's going to be really tight because Luton will come and they'll be a nuisance to Forest. I'll take 3 points on Saturday in any way, shape, or form. Now, you know, if Dave was on, if you asked Dave the question, he'd say, "I'm an optimist." So he would see Luton beating Forest. I'm gonna be Dave Gregory Asprey and say I'm an optimist. So I think Forest will beat Luton, but I don't think it's going to be easy. And I think the gap between us and Luton, there's an experiential gap. We've been in the Prem now a year, if you like. And Luton are learning. Luton are almost like we were this time last year. I think there's lots to like about Luton. I think it's going to be a very, very difficult game, but we'll see what goes on. I fancy us to win, but narrowly. The one proviso I would put on it, the one caveat, is that Taiwo won't be playing. And I'm a little worried as to where the goals will come without Taiwo. Now, I think he played Chris Wood at Palace, and Woody held up really well, and he played manfully. But I don't think he's that guy with that zip to get there. I think Divock Origi will play against Luton and against Liverpool the following week. He'll certainly play against Liverpool because what it means for him to play at Liverpool. Talking about City, to completely veer off, you know, I'm like tangential Dave. I'm kind of thinking, blimey, maybe Arsenal should send a thank you card to Morgan Gibbs-White. You know,
100%, 100%.
Because lads, if you take City, I think it was Wolves, and then Arsenal, and in the Carabao at Newcastle, and compare that City on those three occasions where he wasn't there to the City that played in Leipzig, they were phenomenal in Leipzig, and that was with Rodri. So I think Arsenal, to Arsenal's credit, there was the chance to beat City, and Arsenal took it. It wasn't a great game of football. It was a cagey. Neither side played really well, but who gives a damn if you're an Arsenal fan? They got the W. They got the 3 points on the board. And I watched it thinking, you know, if Morgan and Rodri hadn't had that little entanglement in that corner at the Etihad, what would City have done at Wolves, you know, against Newcastle, and then against Arsenal? Because Rodri, to my way of thinking, we stick my neck out, he's the best player in the league. He's a one-man army. He can do everything. He's a wonderful player, Rodri.
He is.
And I think, you know, Arsenal in that game saw a chance and they got the job done. Have I lost my faith and trust in City being the City that we think they are? Not yet. No. Because like Dee says, I do think, I mean, I looked at the Arsenal game and I kind of sat there watching it, and it wasn't a spectacular match, but I kind of thought, I'm a football connoisseur, I'm enjoying this, you know what I mean? And I looked and I thought, boy, is it difficult to replace, certainly on one day, Ilkay Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne and Rodri. It's really difficult to replace those. I think losing Gundogan is the thing that has narrowed the gap between City and the others. He was a wonderful, I didn't really get how good he was until like last season when he was just immense. And what you have to remember is he won them the title basically on his own the season before in that game against Villa, where I think they were 2-0 down on the last day. And he came up, stepped up to the plate. So I think the gap between City and the chasers, who I think are Liverpool and Arsenal, I like what Tottenham are doing, but I don't think they've got the staying power. I don't think they're the finished package yet. They're an immense improvement of what they have been, but I just think the gap, the Gundogan loss, and then for Rodri to be out for 3 games, I think was
it's funny, Dave, because you said, "Oh, thank Morgan Gibbs-White," but I actually thank Rodri because, you know, if he's going to strangle a guy, he's going to get sent off.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was actually all on him, really.
It was, Dan, and I was there at the Etihad. I was right high up in the gods at the Etihad, looking right down on it, and it was just a bit of Charlie. And Rodri has kind of I've seen Rodri a few times, and he glides about matches. He plays a pass. He's the goal he scored against Sheffield United, perfect example. Calm under pressure. Okay, we're in the mire a little bit. 1-1 against the bottom team, 6 a goal away, and he was so out of character. And it was interesting that when he walked off the pitch, Pep Guardiola wouldn't catch his eye, wouldn't look at him.
No.
And I think they definitely missed him at Wolves, where actually Neto was phenomenal. I thought.
Hey, what a player!
Wolves.
What a player!
Yeah, he's absolutely brilliant.
Unreal, man.
But yeah, with us this week, I just want us not to go back to doing a Forest. I want us to just get the win, and then I could,
I think you will, man.
To me, I hope so.
I think you will. I'm gonna go 2-1 Forest for this weekend. I think Newcastle are going to beat Palace. Apologies, man. I think they're going to have too much for you. I've also gone 2-1 Newcastle. And
Last
I've gone
season,
2-0 Arsenal. So.
Well, we'll see it this season. But last season, Newcastle didn't score a single goal against us in 3 games.
Man.
Home and away.
And you got a defense, man. You got the defensive record still. So
to caveat that, we didn't score a single goal against them. It was all 3 0-0s. We faced them 3 times. It was all 0-0s in the League Cup, in the
I remember that now.
And in our ground as well.
And Palace have got such an awful. I mean, I came away from Selhurst Park. I mean, it's for a 0-0, it was a really good match. There's lots going on, but Palace are that Gurhey-Anderson partnership is actually.
I mean, we picked up 2 injuries against Forest, like during the game. Injuries as well.
Jeff Sluck went off.
Like that's the thing. Like, it's like people don't believe me. Like I genuinely mean, like Palace are really struggling. I'm not even making that as an excuse.
They are gutted. They are depleted. Yeah.
Roy Hodgson and Steve Parrish will be playing this weekend at Newcastle.
I'm gonna have to bring my boots, but I ain't traveling enough.
Fair play, man. Listen, we're gonna wrap it up there. Absolutely pleasure to have you guys on. Big up to Goonie and Joe, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
Big up to Dave and big up to D. Make sure you go over to Back of the Nest podcast as well. Follow D's content. Follow Dave on Twitter at Dave Asprey. Listen, we're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to be doing a debate show tomorrow night. So I look forward to that one. We're going to be talking about Gerrard, Lampard and Scholes. That's what we're going to be doing tomorrow night. Talking about who's better, who's the better footballer, not who's better scorer, better passer, just who's the better all-round footballer. So join us for that one tomorrow at 8 p.m. And we'll see you next time, people. Take it easy. Laters.